Hi, good morning, good evening, all around the world. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. I'm your host, Amy Masters, and today we have our two-time special guest note with Danalynn Stockwood. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
I love it. You are so busy all the time, and so trying to catch up with you, and I feel very honored that we get an hour of your time and be able to catch up and see what you've been up to since the last time we talked, and then, just retell your story because I love it all so much. So thanks for giving us an hour of your time.
You, it's such an honor. I'm always watching the Facebook page comments and all the
And
nice
then, just retell your story.
and seeing everything that everyone's into, right? There's so many of us that are just so productive with this nail world.
Yes, and that we get to connect internationally still completely blows my mind every single time.
Amazing how technology has just intertwined
Yeah.
people forever.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Dana Lynn, once again, thanks for joining in. I want to brag on you so much because over the last year or so that I've gotten to meet you, and just being a part more of your Facebook life, your social media life, because that's what we put out there. It's amazing everything that you do from your personal life to your business life and all of that. So I'm gonna ask you to go back into time and reshare with everybody. We know that you were in accounting to begin with, which thank goodness that helps set you up for, your career as a nail tech. But what made you want to do the transition from, being an accountant to diving into the salon world?
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, as far as I can remember, I've always done like administrative work. And I got my associates in accounting and business administration and then worked at a public school for like 7 years or so and loved how my nail tech did my nails. And I was like, oh, I just wanna do this. So I'm that stubborn mule that if, once I get my mind set on something, there's nobody that's gonna tell me I can't. So I was pregnant of my now 12-year-old and I was just like, I'm going to nail school. So I worked. And this is just how I work. Like I have to have a gazillion plates spinning because that's how I function. And yeah, so I went to nail school. I think it was like 4 months, twice a week. So I would work all day. Went to nail school twice a week, and then after I had my baby, I had to go on maternity leave. Went on maternity leave for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then went back to school because I wanted to finish before I had to go back to work full time. So that way, I was doing work, baby, and school. So I ended up doing that. Um, and the salon that I started working at was actually the salon where my nail tech worked. And she spoke to the owner, brought me in, and the owner was just like, "Yep, I'll set you up part time. You can, and then from there on, once do, then we'll switch you over." So I took everybody that I could, and yeah, but the nails I think has always been there. I used to wear paper clips on my nails. I had long talons, and I also used to cut and shape them into nails and paint them with polish. And I'm sure a lot of women did that. And you can just see like the paint curl, the tape curl. I
Yes.
And then you get fuzzies at the end of the tape. Yeah, I did all those fun things, and I had a caboodle box full of all my nail prep stuff. And then yeah, and then it just I think it's always been in my bloodstream. But I have to say this is the longest career I've had in my whole history of working.
Do you know being in the beauty industry is one of the only industries or fashion that because it's ever changing, we have to stay innovative and new. It's not just a new law, that changes and then you have to implement one thing into your career. Everything changes constantly, daily, weekly, monthly. And so I think allowing that to always, well, my right now,
Whoops.
you just flew off the screen.
You know what? With me being, I have these cell phone holders and everything. You think I would have brought one home, and I'm like, you should see the prop that I have here. Just my phone up. I'm like trying not to move the box. There's a candle holding the phone. It's crazy.
I love it. I love that it doesn't matter. I mean, I can tell you if you guys have never seen the Tech Talk Live that I did with Scarlett Center, I think it was one of the funniest ones I've ever done. And you just have to go with it. And I'm not even going to repeat what happened on that video. You're just going to have to find it. But oh my gosh, so funny. Um, so I love that we can get started this way. That means it's going to be a great tech talk.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when you get into, so I kind of forgot what we were talking about, but that inspiring your desire is my new motto that I've been putting out there lately. And if we didn't have the career that we did, I think we would get bored doing the exact same thing over and over and over every hour, every couple of hours of the day. And so thank goodness that it changes all the time and becomes like a new job. And I think that that's why people can stick with this career for so long, is because it is ever changing.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it too. I feel like being a nail tech is like the tree trunk, and all those little branches that come out are all those little roadmaps that you can take to just try different things. And I think that's where a lot of nail techs get stuck in that rut, and they're just, and I don't want to say just, but they sit at a table, do nails, come in, do nails, and leave. And
Mhm.
really have to check out and explore those other possibilities because there's so much to tap into in this nail industry.
Yeah, thank goodness. And thank goodness for groups like, well, what we're a part of here on Facebook and stuff like that, because then we can really, like, I live in a very small town. We don't even get education in Wyoming. They don't come here anymore because we don't have the big airport. So you have to go to Montana, Colorado, Utah, which is travel time. And if you have kids and family, it's hard to, mark off for that and afford that. And so if it wasn't for the online opportunities, we wouldn't get the education that we have. And so it's pretty wonderful. Speaking of those educational opportunities, though, at one point in time in your career, you must have went to a show and got so inspired that you decided to organize shows for part of your career. How did you take that leap? That's a pretty big thing to add to your
But
plate.
that you say that because Darlene Donovan, who is up in New Hampshire, she used to do the New England Nail Networking event in New Hampshire. And she emailed me the other day and she says, "Look what I found." And it was actually an email from 2009, I want to say about 2 years ago, that said, it's not verbatim, but it said to the twist of, "Oh my goodness, I missed your last show. I just heard about it and I really want to register. Where can I get information?" To see where 10 years ago where I was, because I'll be 13 years in the industry so far, and where I am now. And so she was a really big inspiration because I loved her events. They were
Mhm.
intimate, they were low key, they weren't these big like trade shows. You can hear each other while talking. You can pick the nail company, the educator that was there. You can pick their brain, and you can stay at the table for as long as you needed to. They were so helpful, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I love this." So about, let me see, 4, 5 years ago, actually, I got in touch with her, and she had stopped doing it for like a year. And so I went up and I called her and I said, "Hey, I'm really interested in starting this, event. And I'm wondering if it's okay that I do it because I didn't want to, if she was planning on doing it again, I didn't want to initiate it. But if she wasn't, I wanted to see if she would pass me the baton and give me her blessing." So it went that way. She said, "Yeah, I'm not touching it again, and have fun." So that's what I did. And so it was challenging in the beginning because, as in regard to organizing events, the only thing I know how to organize are like birthday parties and it's so different from that.
Yeah,
Where do
a lot. It's a lot bigger, just a little bit bigger.
It's a lot different. So I'm like, where do I begin? So I've been blessed with going to premiere annually and going to other events and then being able to network because that's what you should be doing at like Orlando and when you go to the Smokies and when you go to Oregon to the One Show. Like these are the things you need to be doing is networking, your business cards, hand them out. And so I've been so blessed. And then being an SE educator, which I was, I
Mhm.
had that opportunity to just network with everybody that I bumped into. And you kind of have to have the chutzpah to be like, "Hey, my name is Danalynn. I'm Fun Fancy Nails." And that's how people know me in the industry, by Fun Fancy Nails, not
Mhm.
usually by my first name. So yeah, so I did a lot of networking and then I was like, "Okay, now I have to reach out and see who would participate. So, I mean, I got in touch with so many people, Darcy and Linda Nordstrom, and it's amazing that I know these owners of these companies. Like, I'm so humbled that I
Yeah.
know the owners of the companies, Tracy and Amy. Like, I've worked with them. I mean, we've broken bread together. Like, I love them to pieces, and they're so supportive of both the Massachusetts and the Rhode Island nail
Mhm.
network. And so, yeah, so just being able to really navigate the industry, being able to network with everybody, and that's just how I brought it up. I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of work. So
Yeah.
kudos to everybody else that does them, because it's not just having these companies show up, it's making sure that they're happy, it's making sure that your attendees are happy, it's making sure that the people that are working with you are happy, making sure that the hotel makes me happy. Like, it's such a conglomerate of um, just making sure that everything falls into place. And
Yeah.
very particular about that. And I want to make sure that my attendees are happy, that my vendors are happy. And I try to be at their beck and call as much as I can, because if they can't come to you to ask you the question, and you don't have that rapport, and that, you just have to be genuinely kind,
Mhm.
then they're not going to want to come. So yeah, so it's really important for me. But yeah, so that's how I started the venture of these awesome events.
Yeah. And you know what? It's pretty cool because you were only a tech for 3 years then when you decided you were going to add to your plate like that. Like that's a lot to do.
So I started about 5 years ago. So I was sick for about 8 years already. And
Okay.
I asked Darlene, um, yeah, it was about 5 years ago. So because I'll be doing Rhode Island right now is March 24th, from 9 to 5 in Warwick, Rhode Island, and then the one in Massachusetts. This will be my fourth year.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so nice when it's the same location. Like, it's easier now. It's a lot easier now. The
Yeah.
challenge for this particular event has been attaining vendors, and I think we're going in a new direction in regard to where education is going. Like, I feel like a lot of the companies are
Yeah.
forming their own locale and
Mhm.
have wanting the nail techs to come to them, and I totally get it. So I think it's shifting for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll still have the trade shows, but I agree with you. I think they're being a little bit more picky on where they go. And so I think a lot of the little small town trade shows, I think they might have a little bit of a struggle, but it's also going to allow more people to network like that, maybe get together, travel, make a retreat to be able to go somewhere. I kind of remember talking before about what it took behind the scenes. And one of the things that I was blown away with, and I actually got to just witness this a couple times last year, was behind the scenes how many crates are flown in or shipped in. I mean, pallets and pallets of crates of products. They have to sit there and be ready for the shows, and the storage that it takes. Like, I walked into a room, it was last year, and I was like, I could not believe the pallets of product. It was like Christmas to me. I wanted to open them all up and look at everything. And so there's so much work that goes not only from your end, but it proves that your organization and you making them happy is working. It's very successful. So keep that up. Yeah.
I mean, and you have to consider too, like, so they're sending stuff, but there's stuff also being sent in suitcases.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everybody glitter and acrylic and brushes and nail art stuff. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
And all the new stuff. That's what I am, definitely the kid in the candy store of what's new, what's colorful, what's glittery, what's blingy, what makes noise. I want to push all the buttons.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, we have lots of people joining in. So once again, if you guys have any questions for Danalynn, on any level, she's an open book. And so what's nice is that we can talk to her about anything. Let's see. So Rosado, which I apologize if I got your name wrong,
Is
says,
it?
"You're amazing, Danalynn. Thank you for putting the events together in New England."
I think that's Jessica.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. I have to say, she's been a great supporter since day one.
Do you find that nail techs are contacting you saying, I want to help, I'll volunteer, I'll be there the day before? You find that at all?
Oh, yes. And it's sometimes like I'm very particular with how I want things done.
Yeah.
It's really hard to let go. So I do have my team of 4 that know how I run. And so, yeah, they see me on 2 different levels. So they see me as Danalynn, the nail tech, the friend, and then they see me as Danalynn, the event coordinator. Don't play. And but you know what the other thing is, they know how to reel me back in and be like, well, maybe we should do it this way. So it's a great balance. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but Jessica has always been a great supporter. We communicate. We actually, I believe we met at one of Danielle's classes, if I'm not mistaken. And this is just how it works. Like she's had life experiences, I've had life experiences. We communicate together outside of networking. We'll hit each other up. She'll send me a message and say, hey, I'm doing this, or, this is going on. I mean, that's just how you form these bonds in the nail tech world that is so different from the regular bonds that you form outside of it, right? Because it's everything relatable. It's about nails.
Yes, I know. And thank goodness that we have these courses. So so I'm going to jump ahead because I got to stay structured on these because I can get lost in conversation very easily. And so at some point in time, you decided to team up with Orly, and then you've also done some competition. So I think it was 2 years ago you decided to compete as well and won several awards and all of that. So you've been able to see it from all sides. Yeah.
Yeah, so I attended the Best Little Nail Show in Texas. It was my first time, and at that time I was working with Essie, and may he rest in peace. But Gino, I sent out an email to Gino, and I said, "Hey, I'm interested in competing." He says, "Okay, we'll send you out there," and I was like, "What?" I was so excited. So yeah, they had sent me out there. I competed for the first time. My cousin Maribel is also a nail tech. She lives in Tennessee, and we try to do like an event together. So we meet up somewhere in the country together so we can do a nail event together, which is so much fun because I love her to pieces.
Yeah.
And so she's my model, and it is completely nerve-wracking to compete.
Yes.
Totally different side of the nail world, and but to just see, I competed against Phoenix, Rosanna, like it was like this crew that I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. And that was the first time I had met Phoenix and Rosanna like that, and some other women. And yeah, and I ended up, so we compete and all that. We do the nail show. We explore the floor, and then when they did judging, I mean, I was just like, this is awesome. I got to compete. Like this was amazing. And then they called my name, and I was just like, wait, what? Crazy, yes. And I was so excited. I was like, I can't believe. So I came in. I had 2 second places and 1 third place, and yeah, it was one of them was a nail art media, so I won second place in that one.
Yeah.
For the other 2, but yeah, it was so exciting. Will I do it again? I don't know, because there's some strong competition, and I fall out now on a different category as already like I'm not a newbie anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, the competition is eek. So I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll compete. But now, yeah, so now I'm on with Orly. So I terminated my educator position at Essie, and then now I'm with Orly, and they had me training last year, I believe it was, and it was fun. Never been to LA. They are just an amazing company. I'm so excited to be on their team. Amy Wong is also on their team. So, and Shirley Chang in New York. Like I hobnob with these awesome nail techs, and they're so down to earth. KT, Tracy Vincent, like there's just so many awesome nail techs on our team.
Yeah. What I love about most of the teams that keep, that inspire part is that they're nail techs just like us. They started just because, oh, this looks like a good career that I could have, or it's fun, for the moment, start as a hobbyist. And then you turn it into, the next level. They've been there. They know they've had to try to build the clientele. They've done the exact same thing we've done. And, they've just gone to it can broaden their horizons of going to shows, and you get that little bug that you want to compete, and you see the excitement of everybody else doing that. I've been there, and I can say Kim and I, who's on our Tech Talk group, we decided for the Utah Nail Show that we're going to do that the new one that they have where one person starts it and then the next person goes and the next person. So it's like tag teaming. And if it wasn't for Kim, I don't know that I would ever compete again. I like being the supporter, the cheerleader. I actually want to get into more of the judging side of it
Oh,
because the anxiety with the competitions. But I'm your biggest cheerleader if you decide you want to do it. But anyway, so Kim and I, if it wasn't for Kim, I don't know how to do it. I know that no matter what, I'm just going in this for fun. But yeah, it's a tag team type of competition. I think it's for acrylic pink and whites, I believe. And so yeah, so I like that the competitions are changing as well. And so they're not just your traditional sculpted pink and white tip and overlay. Now they have gel polish in there. Now they have, a lot more with the mixed medias and the box art sets and all of that. And so I think it's made it a lot more fun and a true competition, not just with the traditional pink and white. So I don't know. I might have to look into that.
like a of nail techs.
Yeah. With speaking of competitions, we did an online competition, which is, a lot more fun too. And almost every group seems to be doing them. And we did the hashtag one nail, one canvas, which we'll be doing again in June. And we just got featured in this month's Nails magazine about it. And oh, it's phenomenal.
I saw that and I was like, oh, I want to do that. But yeah, it's finding the time. Like, honestly, I think if there was more time in the day, there still wouldn't be more time in the day.
Yeah, isn't that so true?
Yeah,
At least with the online part, I didn't have the same anxiety that I did going to a show and all of that. And so I think being able to do some of the online competitions can help people get started. You still get a judge's sheet of what you could have done to improve and all of that. But it's I don't know, it's a little bit different. So like you said, the industry is really changing in the last couple of years, and I love that we get to be a part of that ride.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank goodness for, all of the trade shows online and all of that. But one of the things that we always have to keep in perspective is that we come first and we work for our families. We work for the income to be able to do that. And we can get lost very easily in the day-to-day stuff and not inspire ourselves with the ongoing education or not inspire ourselves with getting on Pinterest or something and finding the next nail trend that's out there or whatnot. But where do you go for inspiration to keep you just passionate?
Oh boy, I have to say that's a great question.
Because there's so many.
Is and I have to say your page is definitely one. Like I love your genre class. Like that is like all my clients are loving it. All
Yeah.
my clients are loving it. So that's inspirational. Your the nail the love the fact that on TikTok worldwide there's this genuine relationship with nail techs and that everyone is cheering everyone on. Like you
Mhm.
can feel that. You can feel that energy. Um Inspiration. Oh my goodness. I think my brain is just nonstop. And so I think of something and it leads to something else. And then all of a sudden I'm like, we can do that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Artistically, I think I just have those artistic eyes where I see something and I'm just like, oh, that would look nice on a nail. Or I'll go in a lobby of some, or I see a pillow on a couch, or, just there's so much art around us, whether it's natural art or something that you find, in somebody's house that's like, oh, I love that. There's actually a business right down the block from me, and they do t-shirts, Orange Graphics. Love her. It's Amber. Hey, Amber. And she did my Fun Fancy Nails shirts and my aprons and all that. Um, and she does art well. And I remember the first day I walked into her store, all I did was look around first on the walls because she has these beautiful, bright, and vibrant pictures that she's done. And I'm just like, I told her, I was like, I could see that on a nail.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you mind if I take a picture? And granted, this is like, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, and I still haven't done the nail. But it's it's just amazing the inspiration that you can get.
Yeah. I just did a snakeskin design and I saw that so it was funny. I did it like the month before Nails Magazine said the next thing to watch out for, or the next trend to spotlight or something like that was the snake skin. And I was like, whoa. And I did it because my husband and I were looking at boots. And I was teasing him. I was like, "Oh yeah, you should get these ones." And they were snakeskin. He was like, "It's not his style at all. He's very, just basic, man kind of stuff." And I'm like, "No, really." And all I could see was nail art the whole time. And so I'm sure you find this with your girls too. When my children were younger, off of their clothes, they had the cutest little characters, and those penguins or those little bears ended up on somebody's nails. And then as they got older and they got into, other things, whatever my kids had always ended up on somebody's nails. Now that my kids are out of the house, it's amazing. My artwork has changed and I've done more like scenic stuff that I see on Pinterest. And so I need to have those little ones around because those were actually my favorite arts to do was kind of the cartoonish stuff.
I know my oldest, of course, loves nails. She's 24. My 12-year-old likes to do the nail art, but doesn't like her nails painted. And then the 4-year-old like their nails painted.
Oh, do any of your girls decide that they want to be in the nail industry as well?
I don't think so. Like, I think my oldest likes to dabble in it for sure. And I think if she had the time, she would probably go get her nail license. My 4-year-old will probably dabble more in it because she's my girly girl for sure. Princess dresses and mommy lipstick and mommy my hair. And this 6-year-old, again, likes her nails painted, but I think that's as far as it goes. And then the 12-year-old, she loves art. So even if she did like nail art, that would be cool.
Yeah. And there's a lot more of that happening as well. There's people that just really are good and only like the shapes and structures. And so they're bringing in assistants. And in Wyoming, you still have to be licensed even if you just do nail art. If you are working on a client on nails, you have to be licensed for it. So it's harder here. But in a lot of the other states like California and stuff like that, they're bringing in these nail assistants. That's all they do is art. And they're artists. I mean, they're amazing. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So you never know. You might end up being one of those like, you organize. One's going to do the shapes and structure part of it. One of them's going to do the art.
Yeah, right.
So
Oh,
when it comes to family, we know that recently you've had, well, it's not been recent, it's been years, but recently it's kind of peaked up again. And you said that you were willing to kind of share and open up a little bit about that. Um, and so we're sending prayers your way when it comes to, your whole family, but you have a daughter in particular that is kind of peaked with medical. Do you want to share a little bit with us on that?
so again, I have four girls. Abby's 24, Chevelle's 12, Cheyenne is 6, and our Pookie Bear, which is Siobhan, she's 4. And she was diagnosed with a brain tumor on her optic nerve when she was 19 months old and had chemo for 56 weeks. So it changed the dynamic of our, like, I still worked one day a week because that was like my getaway. And I worked like a 12-hour day because that was just, I love what I do. Unfortunately, I didn't really do it every day because I was home taking care of my baby girl. And so she was 2 when she started chemo and finished when she was, yeah, 3. And so she had just started preschool. The tumor is inoperable, so chemo kind of just oh, what's the word I want to use? Just stabilized it so it didn't grow. And so she got repetitive MRIs every 6 months. And last March they found like a shadow, and they said we're not sure if it is or it isn't. And then in November she had a scan, and it was a new tumor growth. So now it's on the other side of her optic nerve. And then we went for a 3-month scan because they wanted to follow it up and not wait for the 6 months. And then they found some more growth. Unfortunately, this tumor has affected her left side, so she's low muscle tone. She's also legally blind. Um, oh, what else goes on with my baby girl? Yeah, and she has peripheral and depth perception issues. So it's inoperable, but it's just wreaking havoc in her internal system. And then on top of that, so not only am I a nail tech today, but I also am involved as being her advocate. Of course, I'm an advocate for my children. So, like this weekend, I just attended a Vision of Community conference in Boston. It was an all-day conference. So much great information for. It was hosted by the Federation of Children with Special Needs. Great Saturday, lots of information, and then she also receives lots of services at school. So she gets vision therapy, which she's learning how to read Braille. And I am so impressed with how much she's learned already. And she also walks with a white cane. So she has an orientation and mobility specialist that comes 1 day a week to see her. She gets 5 days a week. Then she has PT at school as well. Vision therapy, I already said vision, speech therapy, and OT.
Oh my gosh.
So she has a jam-packed day. So sometimes my girl comes home exhausted, but she is very tenacious and she does not stop moving. She is so right now she's actually out. She's my light sleeper and she's out cold right now because she's not feeling well. But yeah, so these, she says, "Mommy, I have a headache. I don't know if it's something on or if it's actually the tumor that's affecting her." Um, so yeah, so now the last MRI she had, they found the growth, and then last week they met with her teams. Her oncologist met with her whole team to decide what the next step will be in regards to chemo. So we are starting chemo now, and I don't know when we'll be starting it. But yeah, I was a mess the day I found out. Thank God my husband was there with me because I don't know if I could have controlled myself. But because this is my second rodeo, I feel like strapping those boots up, and now I know where to reach out for resources. Now I know where to reach out in my community because we've been established here in the community. The teachers know the girls. I mean, we know so many people. We walk into supermarket and Walmart here, and it's inevitable to bump into at least two or three people. And if I don't know them, my girls know them. And so this time around, I was talking to somebody this morning, Beecher. She's part of Lucy's Love Bus, which is a phenomenal organization. And I told her, I said, this ain't my first rodeo. So if somebody asks if they can help, you bet I'm going to take you up on your offer. And she's like, I have to. I said, the first time around is very different. Like, you don't want to be a bother or a burden to anybody. But this time, I'm just like, yeah, I'll take your help.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's a lot going on again. Like nobody notices the behind the scenes. I think they see my busyness on Facebook and I'm posting this and taking care of my studio and taking care of my girls and going here and going there. There's so much more involved, like on a daily basis that I just don't post. Because first of all, it's time consuming to post on social media. You want to make sure you get it right.
Mhm.
Second, it's just sometimes I feel like I don't have to post everything. Like I really try to post the most important things.
Mhm.
And yeah, and just life gets in the way. And
Yeah.
so I try my best. And again, like I've had people that text me like, "What are you doing now?" And I'm like, "That's how I roll. I have to be busy." Some post at 2 a.m. or at night. That's me. That's just I
Yeah.
have to be busy.
Thank goodness that we have the careers that we do, that we can, check in and be active and, be productive and all of that. But if we need to step away, we can. And I know with my own stuff, I would have been fired so many times from so many jobs as an unreliable person. And I'm not. It's just, what medical does and our family and where our focus is. And so it's important for us to build that other side of the community where it's not just about work. And like we said on Facebook, I've done a lot of research trying to figure out why is it on Facebook people will post some of the most worst things and they're some of their greatest things and they post it all out there. But here's what happens on Facebook. You have to relive that moment. So if you post something out there for weeks, people are making comments and you're having to relive that moment. So I think a lot of times people don't put the downside of their life on social media is because one, they're being vulnerable and they're sharing that with other people. And of course you're going to get prayers, you're going to get, building that community, but you also have to relive it. And then Facebook does this lovely thing where it reminds you a year later where you were, and then you relive that moment again. And so I think a lot of people reserve on posting like that because it's a constant thing. And even in our salon industry, we might have something going on. So we tell a client, what's going on. 4 weeks later, when they come back in, they ask about it again and we relive that moment again. And if you tell every client, then 4 weeks you're reliving this moment. So sometimes we become more reserved or we don't want to share that. Or sometimes I'm an open book like you. I just tell everything all the time. Um, and so sometimes that does get difficult though. And so I appreciate that you were able to open up and share that with everybody because we do want to help. And from long distance, maybe it's sending something financially, maybe it's sending just something through the mail, just as a little pick me up. I love some of the things that, people can do. Um, this triggers somebody in our group said, I know this isn't nail related, but my dad has always wanted to travel the world and he's not been able to. It's his birthday. And if you could screenshot a map of where you live and send it to this phone number, my dad will get to live vicariously through everybody on here. That
Oh,
didn't cost us anything. Of course I was going to do that. I sent pictures. I went overboard because me, I want to help. I sent pictures of the mountains. I sent pictures of the moose. I sent pictures of, my location and all that. And he was so appreciative. And so there's many things that we can do to be able to help or lift a spirit one day or through prayer or whatever. And so thanks for saying, yes, you can help because sometimes people block that and we don't allow those blessings to come in.
right. And so, yeah, I mean, it's so important for me to share just because, again, if I can help somebody out there. So on top of being a nail tech and a mom of four, I'm on the school council at their school and I'm on the PTO and I'm also the chair of the CPAC, which is the Special Education Parent Advisory Council. So I'm very proactive in our community. And it's just because I want to make sure, because somebody's always going through something and sometimes people are not comfortable enough to say so. So I'm hoping people can come reach out to me and say, you know what, I'm going through this. I saw that you're going through it too. How can I help? And our paths might be the same, but they're going to be parallel. And so I'm hoping at least I can be that little inspiration with someone else going through something.
Yeah, I can say I've just recently, for my first time, had the opposite. So I was in, you guys know that I go every week and get an infusion. And so I was in sitting my infusion, and the nurses came over and they're like, there's another girl that has the same condition as you. And she was really wanting to meet you. And, we have, these rules about patients, blah, blah, blah. But here's her information. If you want to reach out to her, you can. And I do. And it was opposite. All she was very negative. She didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm not that mindset. And so I tried to help. And after a while, I had to disconnect. I'll send her things every now and then, but I had to disconnect because sometimes we open up ourselves being vulnerable. We open up our community like that of our family and all of that. And sometimes it's not the right connections or it's not the right time for you to deal with somebody else's parts. And so you just have to be strong in who you are and just disconnect a little bit to those ones that do bring you down. And even if you don't have health issues, we have to do that in our own salon with our clients. Sometimes we have that one client that they're just the one, and sometimes it's worth just disconnecting or not opening yourself so much and being vulnerable to those people because sometimes it's just not meant for you at that time.
Yeah, I feel that. Yep, I totally get you on that. Like the negative Nellies, you just can't hang with me. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Don't got time for you today.
Oh, God. Yeah, just like you said, the timing is off.
Mm, yeah. And speaking of timing, I mean, you must have this written out scheduling that is unreal. I mean, just in a few weeks, you're going to be having the Rhode Island show or the Massachusetts show, and then you have all this personal things going on. So I'm sure that you just have this notebook, or I envision it just completely packed and structured.
So I actually have a running calendar on my kitchen wall that states everything that's happening for the month. And then I have a whiteboard that indicates what's happening for the week. And then I have my planner that indicates everything I'm doing, along with everybody's happenings, plus my client schedule. I just started using Square for appointments, and as much as I love it, I can't seem to let go of this book because not only are my clients in here, but everything else for my schedule is in here. So I
Yeah.
can't let go of this yet. Um, but I have a binder for everything. My husband makes fun of me because I have literally a binder for everything. Um, yeah, and I'm just a organized hot mess. Like some things are organized and other things are just like you should have seen the back of this table earlier. Like I have to tidy it out. Like things are in like baskets right now because my girls love to find stuff up there. I'm at the dining room table now and like whatever's on here ends up on there. It's the catch-all little bureau.
Yeah.
I gotta spruce that up a little bit so it doesn't look like a. But I'm sure you know what? I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I've learned to kind of let that go a little bit.
Mhm. How
And then
many times do we decorate our house and clean it in case company comes over? And then how often does company really come? And of course, company comes on the one day you maybe decided not to do the dishes or that you have laundry sitting on your couch. And so it's always interesting how we feel. But yeah, I'll go to somebody else's house and they're the same thing. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't do the dishes today, or that laundry's been sitting there for a week. I'm so sorry I didn't have time to put it away. And we're like, we're all in the same boat. We all have those same struggles. If you can keep up on all of that, then you need to do a workshop and teach us how to do it, because I'm realizing that nobody has the most perfect cleanest house, that there's a chaos somewhere.
there is. And I feel better when I go into a mommy's home and I'm like, yes, the coats are on the floor and the shoes aren't picked up. Feels so good. Yeah.
Yeah, so true. I would love it. Well,
Oh,
thank you guys for joining in. And once again, we have Danalynn Stockwood with us. So if you have any questions about shows, competitions, Orly, anything, she's free for a little while longer with us. So ask some questions. I do have one question. I know that right now your life might be a little bit paused and the refocus, with family, and you're still going to do those shows, but what's next for you? I mean, to me, I see that you're already at the top, but I know that we always have those little inside personal goals of what we want to do next.
so kind of you to say, but I don't even feel it. I don't know. I'm just doing what I love. And
Yeah.
I would I would love to I wanted to do education and I've started, but I've had kind of some hiccups. And so I would love to do that, especially tap into like the new student area, because I feel like they're so left behind and that's where it starts, right?
Yes.
Uh, where they're learning and you don't want to take that passion away and you don't want them to feel like there's nobody out there to help them.
Yeah.
So I think that will be my next little journey. But I mean, again, I love doing the expos. They're so much fun. Um, my only resentment is sometimes I don't get to see the new stuff. But this time I'm making it my business to see the new stuff. Hopefully, to let go of some of the jobs that I have to do and pass them on so I can see the new stuff. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, you know what? I get to rekindle those relationships with the vendors that I know and chit chat with them and get the hugs I love and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. I'm always trying to not reinvent the wheel, but just see what else I can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just like the industry, we have to keep it changing, new, innovative, inspirational. That if not, it becomes the same thing. Oh, I saw that last year, and then you start losing, the perspective of others. And so, yeah,
The other thing too is to make sure that those nail techs that are seasoned don't stop educating, like, and don't stop receiving education. Like I've seen that a lot. That they've been in the industry for a long time, and they're just like, no, I don't need that. No, I don't. Just try it. There's a takeaway from everything.
absolutely.
Oh,
Even if I don't go to nail classes, like even if I go to a sip and paint, I learn something from every little thing that I do. Yeah.
yeah, there's a takeaway from everything. And that's when people say, I don't need that education. How do you know? Because you don't know if that workshop education might open a door for something else.
Yeah.
You have to keep it up.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Let's see here. I
But
don't
I
see.
have to tell you, going back to the whole visitor thing that you mentioned and the whole cleaning thing, I posted something on Facebook regarding that because I feel like I'm in that mode and our guest is chemo And like I feel like I have to clean my house and make sure everything is organized because I don't know how my little girl's gonna feel. And
Yeah.
that's I feel like I'm getting that knock any day now and be like, okay, we're here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you should see me. I cleaned my 12-year-old's room. I'm like, look how nice it looks. Let's keep it that way. Laundry like a crazy lady. And then I have my mom. I was like, hey, mom, you think you can come over and help me with the laundry so I can get everything put away? But yeah, I feel like that pressure of having to make sure like everything's in its place alongside everything else, that my girls are involved in and
Years
just
ago, I did a Susie Orman financial class. And of course, at the time, I did the Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and like it was very big in the financials. I had a lot of rentals and investments, and it was my passion, and well, still is. And I remember Susie Orman one time saying, and I remember writing it down and like was blown away that if your house is not clean, you will not have good finances. You will not have a good relationship. Your family will not, be the organized family that you need. They're not going to respect you if your house isn't clean. And I was like mad about that because I was like, if I took all this time to clean my house the way that my OCD ways would be, I wouldn't be a mom. Well, what happened is you start creating a structure. And so I remember there was a TV program that had a 10-second tidy, and this girl would get, is called the Big Comfy Couch. And she would get off the couch, and all the kids and everybody for 10 seconds would clean up something really fast and they'd sit back down. So I implemented that. So we would sit down to watch a movie, and at the commercials, that 5 minute time, we had to jump and loud and be crazy and scream and clean and do whatever. And then as soon as the program came on, we'd sit back down. Do you know we still do that? The problem is my husband records these shows and fast forwards through the commercials. And now I'm like finding myself not finding that cleaning time. So I didn't actually schedule like Tuesdays or laundry days. It was commercials. It was that moment in the morning between breakfast and something else. We have 5 minutes, we're going to do this. And then, so everybody did it together. And my kids still tell me they miss it. And I'm like, well, come on over. We'll watch a movie and we'll clean house.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, implementing that kind of schedule with my children is it's challenging. I mean, whoever has children, it could be very challenging, and you want it done your way, not their way. Ugh, that's the hard part.
Yeah. And I was one, so my kids call me the cleaning fairy because I'm one that will stay up late at night because I'm more of a night person and go through and clean. And when they wake up the next morning, I mean, the living room might be rearranged and they're just like, oh, mom was up late again last night. But I had to really teach myself to not go in behind them. And it was actually a coworker that worked with me. Um, Amber told me one time that her mom had always gone in and like would go in and clean behind her. And she was like, well, why am I even doing this if my mom's just going to do it anyways? And so she didn't care about what she was doing. She just did it to not get in trouble. And my daughter was still young at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm that mom. But I also realized that I did that in work. If we were in the salon and I had asked somebody to do something, and if it wasn't exactly what I would wait till they were gone and I would go in and change it. And that's disrespectful. And I didn't realize that. I thought I was helping. And so when it comes to kids, family, coworkers, whatever it is with that, we have to, like what you said, your people that help you with the shows know exactly what you want, how you want it. So you either have to train them that way and be open-minded to listen to their suggestions so that they're vested in it as well, or you're just going to have to let it go and be okay with however they vacuumed or however they put something together.
So true. So it's a struggle sometimes for me. It's a
Yeah.
struggle. Yep.
Oh my gosh, so many funny things on here. So I don't see any questions coming in, Danalynn, but is there anything else that you want to add to our tech talk today?
Yeah, I just want to invite everybody to the Rhode Island Nail Networking event. It's being held again on March 24th. We have probably about 15 vendors, which is a nice amount, and you get that intimate feeling. We have the tickets that came with the beauty and the lunch already sold out, so now we're working on beauty bags and the admittance for the tickets. Um, yeah, there's a lot of information on the website. It's www.rinailnetworkingexpo.com. You can message me on Facebook if you have any questions. I have to say, everything is on the website. Um, And if you message me, I will get back in touch with you. So it just, my days are sometimes crazy. And I tell my clients all the time, if you text me and I don't get back, just text me again. You're not a bother. It's just, I can read a text and then I think I answered it and I didn't answer it. I can't stand that. I'm trying to get better at that.
I
Um,
have a trick for you. And I know on the other end, I've had people like message me like, wait, I thought you read that and now it says that you didn't. Did I offend you? I'm like, no, I read it. And if I'm not at the place where I can answer it, I click mark as unread and it keeps it highlighted in my messenger so that I can remember to go back to it. So yeah, how these young kids come in. So I have a young client that came in and she's like, just do that. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. So I like that the kids teach me how to use social media.
yeah, awesome. That's a great idea. I'm going to use that. I'll implement that. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll put the comments in the comments. We'll put the links to your website and all of that, and the dates. And if any of you guys have been to any of Danalynn's shows, I want you to light up her life and tell an experience of what happened to you at a show, the networking side, or was there somebody that you got to meet and you had a picture? Post it in the comments and let's give you a little bit of love and let you know that we're so thankful for what you do. I haven't been able to go to one of your shows, but even the way you go live and you interview the people that are going to be there, and you're giving the true education, not only online, but you are giving your passion and your education there at the show, and you can see it. And so I love supporting you and I love hearing what you've been up to. I'm
Thank
sorry that your struggle with your daughter right now, but we do know that she's in some healing hands, and the way that medical technology is amazing. You never know. And that's ever changing as well. There just might be all of a sudden this one doctor that comes in and says, I can fix that. We got
right.
a cure.
That's
Yeah.
so, and thank you for bringing that because in regard to knowing whether, and so I do a survey after or during the show sure that, I'm getting feedback from the attendees there. And it's always nice to see when people post their experience about the show. And just, whether they met someone new or whether they found out a new technique or they connected really well with a vendor. Like it's so nice to get that feedback. And sometimes it's not there. And I'm just like, oh, I just want to know that everybody had a good time. And if they didn't, to just connect with me and let me know. Um, yeah, I put a lot of work into these. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And I think this time around I'm going to put some behind the scenes. Like last year, literally, so in our hotel room, we had 100 bags spread all over the hotel room and just putting all the goodies we got. And one person had one item and all the bags, and another person had, and it was just like mayhem. And then to bring those bags downstairs, we had to find, the cart and make sure they all fit and then hang them from the different hooks on the cart. And them had like 5 on the arms. It was just nuts. But these are the things that I think I need to capture so people can truly understand. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was actually one time last year for Rhode Island. My best friend's daughter was getting married. That was on a Friday night. I ended up driving to Rhode Island, bringing all my stuff with me, hopping in a car with my daughter, driving to New York, went to the wedding. We left New York at 2 in the morning, arrived Rhode Island at 5 in the morning, I think it was, something ridiculous like that, to then continue to get ready for the expo for Sunday. So,
Yeah.
like, this is stuff that nobody knew would happen unless it like, I'm like, I'm exhausted. They're like, why? And I would explain to them, but yeah, this is the stuff that goes down.
Yeah.
Nobody sees.
Yeah. But it's worth it. It reminds me of our teenage years where we could stay up all night, right when you're well, not even teen with your girlfriends or whatever, but I'm thinking my early 20s, where you can stay up all night and then go to work and then stay up the next night because it's, the next fun thing. We ride that energy, but as we get older, I find that I pay for it the next day.
I was so tired. I was so tired. Yeah, because the following Sunday morning, the floor opens at 6 because usually I can't retain that room because there's an event going on. So either I try to get it as late as I can. So if we can set up at 10 p.m., I have a lot of vendors that, hey mom, my mom is here for the laundry. I have a I have a lot of vendors that will end up setting up the night before. So I end up hanging out with them because they'll need stapler or tape or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And usually it's like 1, 2 in the morning and they're done. And then I have to open the doors at 6 for those vendors that didn't show up the night before. So it's, I mean, you're on the whole time until the show is absolutely done on Sunday.
Yeah. I'm one of those that invite people to my motel room and we stay up all night, like having a nail play day, and then try to go to the show the next day and be spot on and do it all over again. I love the shows. And speaking of, my favorite part is the swag bags. I actually, that's how I got the Jella, this one, the bodyguard. I got that. Yeah. And it was through a swag bag. So some of these things I wouldn't just purchase because I have so many products. But if it wasn't for the swag bags and going to these shows, I wouldn't be introduced to half of the things that I have.
Right. And the generosity of these companies that you should see my, so I have my studio and then I have another room, which is like a party room slash educational room. But in there, that's where everything goes for the events. I get boxes and boxes and boxes, and then they all go in my van. So once I get to the hotel, then I distribute everything into the bags. But the generosity from these companies, and not only do I get boxes, but also a lot of the vendors will bring their stuff so they don't have to mail it, and then that's where I get a lot more stuff. But it's incredible how much they send out.
Yeah, yeah. So we actually have a question on here and it's about what I just showed. Gail wants to know, how do you use that you just showed? So one of the things that was kind of cool is that in the swag bag I got a full size and I've read the directions. I've used this twice. So I think you might have to get with Danalynn and find out a little bit more because she's an educator. Do you offer online workshops as well?
I I'm gonna have to connect with you because I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Ah, so I've helped many educators get started, and I actually have a workshop coming up that if you are like me, you're a veteran and you have this knowledge and you know that it's good and in your state and in your area you can go to the next level. I actually, or maybe you're an educator with a company, then I have a workshop coming up that can help you learn how to do online workshops. So it's a lot. There's a lot to it, and it is definitely another full-time job. But for me, it's been worth it. And once again, it's just the next step in the career that I wanted to take. And so Gail, I'm going to tell you, here's the actual bottle,
Oh
which
yes.
I love these like rubberized
Oh,
lids, grip lids. I've used it twice on a client. It hasn't come back yet, with the results of that. But get with Danalynn because she is an educator and get the knowledge behind the scenes of
I
all the different products.
lives. She's right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, it cut out. What did it say?
Oh, Gail is in Massachusetts. She's a nail tech here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know what? One of the things about Gail is so through the genre class, Gail and Brenda kind of teamed up through network and they have gone and met each other. And I think they just did it again or they're getting ready to so that they can have like these play dates together. And I know Becky just organized that for Utah where once a month, I think it is, all these techs are coming together, non-biased, non-product specific, and just inspiring each other and having play dates. In fact, it's inspired me. I just taught a class about 2 weeks ago, a couple hours away from me. And I've been networking more with those techs too. And I'm like, what do you guys think? Is this something that we should do? And everybody's on board. And so it's hard for us to travel a lot. So we have to do it kind of locally within our little communities. But we don't have to be competition with each other. We can step out and help each other. You're going to grow a lot more helping somebody than, going against them. And so, yeah,
Absolutely, I agree.
I love it, love it, love it. Well, I can't thank you enough. I don't see any more questions on here. I know Anita has given you lots of love and lots of prayers as well. So,
So,
Danalynn, I can't thank you enough again for coming on Tech Talk, giving us your time when we know that time is very precious and in your household it's very much needed right now. But thanks for coming on and sharing your experiences with us on the business side and the inspirational side, but as well as your personal.
thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the platform. This is always fun to connect with you again, and to just share our stories. And that's what I love. When my clients sit down, I always tell them, like, I ask them, are you a townie? Because I love to hear the history of our town and the town that I work in. And they laugh. Some of them like, well, I'm not really a townie, but but it's so nice to be able to hear the stories, and that's what I love. I love hearing
Mhm.
the story and the transformation and why they become a nail tech. It's just so much fun. And no, you know what? You don't have to have a sob story or a sad story, or it's just fun to hear the stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why we do Tech Talk. It's because I love hearing the stories and sharing them.
Awesome. So thank you again. I appreciate so much for giving me the platform to be on here and seeing everyone. And I can't wait to read through the comments after. And if anybody has questions, they can definitely reach out and connect with me.
Perfect. So once again, we'll put all of your details into the comments. And then those of you that are going to stick around next Tuesday, Rob Walter is out of Canada. He's with Can West. Rob's going to join us on Tech Talk Live. You can find the Tech Talk scheduled in the events section. And if you go to the events section of our group and you click going, not only will it translate it to your time, but it will also send you a reminder. Now, Facebook isn't always good about it. I saw a lot of comments on here that people are having a hard time getting on. We're here, so I don't know on the different devices of how you connect or whatever, but we are here. And if you have any questions, you can private message me as well. But in the event section, if you click going, it's free and it will translate the time for you and send you a reminder so that you can join in and hopefully mark off in your books to join in comments. Now, Becky started Thirsty Thursdays not too long ago, picking up topics. I know she just did a social media. And this week, she's actually camping and she's going to go live on Thursday from camping to talk about how we have to put ourselves and our family first. And so I thought it was kind of funny that she's doing that on her vacation, but she's proving a point as well. So, and then on the first Monday of every month at 1 Mountain Time, the same thing. It's in the event section already. We do coffee talk where we get four of us, three, four, however many we can fit on the screen, and we have a roundtable topic. And so for March, we just talked about, what did we talk about? I don't remember. Oh my gosh. But I do know that for April, we're going to be talking about that tough client and doing a roundtable thing and talking about the opinion. So I invite you guys to click going in the event section on these if you want to join in and be more active into our group. It's a lot of fun. And you can always watch us on replay. So again, thank you guys for supporting Tech Talk Worldwide, all Tech Talk Live, and all the stuff that we do on here. And Danalynn, thank you for all your support in our group as well. You're always willing to share advice and all of that. And good luck with your show coming up.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for love, and thanks for.
Yeah. And thanks your mom for doing your laundry. That
Yeah,
would be amazing.
I can't wait.
All right. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining in.
Bye.